What's going on, guys? Welcome to AfterBuzz TV. It is your after show for Champs vs. Stars, episode 10. It's the final, and we actually get to see the winner this time. Breaking down all of the obstacles. It's CT's kitchen. People are throwing up everywhere, so join us in just a second.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, yeah!
What else can you do to this?
That's about it, yeah.
Come on, Justin, this was your pick.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, the only
correct.
time I hear this song is when UCLA's coming out of the football arena, so...
Oh, is this their song?
Yeah, this is the song that they actually come out to, the intro.
Wow.
So.
Tony and CT coming out the tunnel tonight.
Yeah.
What? Team Dad
And
Bod in the house.
We'll have to talk about it because I wasn't sure it was going to go that way. I mean, they went in kind of the top dogs, but as we see the final play out, I thought they could have had a chance of coming in third.
Yeah.
So we will get into this entire episode. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. This is the final. This is it. 10 episodes of Champs vs. Stars. We have a reunion next week, which is the first time in Champs vs. Stars series history, but we'll get to that later on. Bankrolling in the Deep was the name of the episode today, and shockingly, we got to see who won it all. Team Dad Bod coming in clutch, coming in time for Father's Day, and Team Dad Bod they were with that back injury. Thanks for joining us tonight, guys. My name is Jenna Bussiere, and we got two of our panelists in tonight. We're missing David, so shout out to DPR, but hello, everybody.
Hey.
Introduce
hey.
yourselves.
Well, hey.
Who are you?
Hey, so good to be here. I am Pamela Gross. This was a great episode. I loved it. This whole season was good. Much more exciting than last season.
Totally agree. What's up? It's your boy, challenge fanatic Jay Yang in the house, and I couldn't agree more. I was actually on the edge of my seat watching the entire challenge. It was neck and neck, but in the end, I feel like the experience actually outweighed anything else.
That was
look
such
at
a
you.
good, roundabout
Yeah.
Mr. America take. He's like, you know
Right.
what? We went through some adversity, but we finished it off strong.
America.
It was about the journey.
America.
Yeah.
And world peace.
The journey.
The
true.
journey.
It's
Walls
true, though.
down.
All right,
Walls
guys,
down.
so we got to start off with our overall thoughts. We touched
Yes.
on it a little bit, but reactions to the winners. So were you happy that it was CT and Tony? Were you surprised? What was your overall thoughts on the final tonight?
Okay, yes, I was so excited to get into it. So I thought, I again was scared because CT had his back injury and he was coming in third. It looked like Team Dad Bod was not going to do very well. I was a little concerned, but I remembered last year when they were picking teams and Bananas was talking to Emily and he's like, don't let the Dad Bod fool you. And I wrote during the episode, poor CT, but don't sleep on Team Dad Bod. I had a feeling, I did know from just social media that there was an eating challenge. And I was like, that might level things because we learned last season on Vendettas that Tony is just not normal. His ability
He's just a
to...
dude. He's just a dude who can eat a lot.
he was eating against other dudes. And it was unreal.
I mean,
Like,
everybody can eat a
literally.
bowl of mayonnaise.
But
I
are you
mean,
happy
I
that
don't
CT
know.
and Tony did rise from the ashes and win this challenge?
I will admit that I was pulling for Luis and Casper just because solely for the reason that they really are so good. And I hated the stupid strategy so much of it being Champs vs. Stars that I thought it would have really sent that dumbness crumbling in a really good, tight little way to seal the deal if only Stars won. But I'm not mad that Tony and
Justin,
CT
how do
won.
you feel about the winners? I feel like you're happy about it.
I feel like I'm extremely happy because I've said it time and time again. You cannot count out CT. I mean,
Never.
he is the
You
challenge.
almost could, though, tonight.
Johnny Bananas has said it like, you may look at him, he may be 250 pounds, he may have a dab, but you just can't count him out of a competition. And I feel that it is Tony time. Hats off to Tony. I mean, there's so many times in all the past challenges, he's either gotten kicked off or done something stupid or he hasn't done well athletically, but every single challenge he's just rising and rising and rising, and I was super happy to actually see him, not do anything stupid, not hook up with any chicks, and I mean he was super focused on winning.
Yeah.
But I mean the mere fact that you think that, if you're going to be paired up with CT, it's a guaranteed automatic win. But that was 10 years ago,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like Dad Bod
And
CT
still.
is a little bit different. But I mean, I feel like they actually complemented each other, in a lot of ways. But I'm actually really happy. It's still the Challenge House. It will always be the Challenge House. I don't care how many stars you get in here.
Wow.
Even though Casper and Luis were amazing, they're such great competitors.
You are
who I think-
die-hard champs.
I'm a diehard champs guy. I mean, we got to stick together, right? But I mean, overall, I thought it was a great season.
And
Fantastic
isn't that
season.
such a sad realization too with CT and the whole back issue? It's so sad to see CT, who we thought that this would never happen to. He's like the robot. He is the star of the challenge, like Mountain Man, actually start to wither, and his age actually
He is
start to
human.
catch up to him. I actually had a sad moment just as a fan. I'm like, in all these years, we're finally seeing him actually, like, sure, these dad bod jokes, but he's still been so good and so fierce. And now he's actually starting to get the back injury. I'm like, oh my God, is this an end of an era? Like, how many
Listen.
more of these can he do? He's actually starting to weaken a little bit.
However, he still beat an Olympic athlete
Yeah.
and a champion sports star, Wes, and Casper. I mean, he beat extremely physically.
Yep.
So as much as he's like, ow, my back, I can't get comfortable, he ran. He
And we'll
did
get-
it.
Yeah.
He did. I mean, he still won. He won. I
Yep.
mean, they might have got some time made up,
Yeah.
but even CT Wounded is a winner. So
I'm so happy for them. They truly deserve it with everything that they went through that challenge. They didn't even think, they went from believing that they weren't going to finish to them finishing first and defeating all of these lead deficits
Yeah.
and coming back from behind, which was great. I do have to say, though, I agree with you. I was hoping that it would be Casper and Louise just because I actually think that they've had the hardest battle this entire season. It's hard to say that they're underdogs because they're so athletic. It's almost like they're athletically superior because Louise has been an Olympic competitor and she also has that mindset. However, they've been thrown every deficit, whether it's the 2-minute sabotage, whether it's missing pegs in the
agree.
twister rock climbing challenge. They've been in 2 to 3 eliminations. They've always
come back every single time. But to your point, I mean, that goes to show you that it's not about how athletic, it's not about how fast you can run or how much you can lift. In the end, it's experience that wins it. And we could see in the challenge, which we'll get into later, that, a lot of times when they had the lead, they didn't keep up the lead, right? Casper kind of like,
Well, we'll go into why,
Yeah.
because there was a lot of back
Exactly.
and forth there. One time it's Casper's fault, one time you could say it was Louise. So there was a lot of back and forth. But it was hard to root specifically for one team because everybody was so lovable. And it really was the best of the best competition-wise. Like the best 6
Exactly.
competitors, I think, made it to the end. I don't think there was anybody who deserved to be there that wasn't there.
That's what I love about this is every single time on a season, there's always a team that, they're the layup team or you can kind of see, but you're right. Every single person was a strong team. There
Yep.
wasn't a weak link and it was almost anyone's game.
And they all fought and politicked their way there. So congrats to CT and Tony, Team Dad Bod, making their way, proving that dads can do it too.
Yeah.
So let's not forget that the first 2 minutes of the episode was last week's elimination finish, which
Yep.
I was very disappointed at how quick that went. I was really pumped going into this episode, and that elimination was 1 to 2 minutes. I wish that we got to see the real time of how long it actually took them to undo their their freezing clothing. It was a little anticlimactic for me. I mean, still good. We still saw Louise and Casper come in, but how did you guys feel?
I agree with you. I feel like it's not great for MTV, for the shows, to kill that momentum and that buzz when you're so into a challenge and you're waiting and you're on the edge of your seat, and then you wait a week and it's like, oh, we're gonna watch them unfold clothes and just see who wins. Like it's so killed the momentum.
Exactly.
I liked it, but I'm gonna have to agree with Wes in the sense of where you actually got to see Louise kind of be human in the sense, because this entire season she's been killing it, but then there are moments where she was kind of like taking a breath and Cass was getting mad at her. It's like, come on, we're doing it. And then even in the challenge, which we'll get into later, it's like there are moments where it's like, oh, she's not as invincible as we thought. So
I'm glad that you brought that up because that was something that I caught too because I thought his terminology there was a little aggressive.
I agree.
He turns to Booby and says, she just got exposed.
Right.
And Booby goes, absolutely. I'm like, okay, she didn't necessarily get exposed.
As
People have
human?
weaknesses.
Right, she got
exactly.
exposed as human.
The
She's
only
not
one who didn't
crazy.
take any breaks during that challenge was Casper. And
Yeah.
Casper, as we know, was absolutely insane.
Right.
Yeah.
Casper, I
it's a
actually...
physical specimen.
Slay Sunday, when Louise was in last time, her podcast, I watched a little bit of the episode with Casper, and he says, I just had the mentality I would literally rather die before I lose.
Yeah.
So he just has that insane sort of mental strength where he can do it, but I still think Louise kicks into high gear. Also, let us not forget that she was the first person to put the ice cold clothing on. She was the first person to break her ice blocks.
Right.
And
They-
she didn't give up the whole
they
time. So
still
exposed
won.
was like an aggressive term.
They still won, but I felt like it was kind of closer than I would have thought.
Yeah,
right? Like, I
definitely.
thought it was going to be a landslide, but I was like, wow, if Drake and Kayla kind of kicked it up a notch, maybe they could have actually taken the win.
Well, okay, so on that, I agree with you first. I want to go back to that because Wes, I think, has a chip on his shoulder regarding Luis right now. He wanted to be best friends this season, and she allied with the stars against him.
Like
and
he
I think
saw the
it made him a
opportunity
little
to
butthurt. So-
knock her down a little bit,
Yeah.
so he took it.
So
yeah.
that was his like, ooh, it was his only moment.
Yes.
And it's not like she exposed herself as not that good. She just was moderately human for once. So chill, Wes. And part two, even with saying that Drake and Kayla were not that far behind, they were a solid 200 jumps behind, which is pretty far behind in this. So it's like they are human. Luis is human, but I think it was still a pretty intense lead.
I do want to
And-
give a little bit of credit to Kayla because I thought she performed a lot better than I would have thought she would. I mean, we saw her take a few breaks last episode, but I think that when it came to clutch time, she didn't stop jumping. We saw her. I mean, sure, we see what we're
Right.
editing, but I thought she performed really well, and she actually
seemed
had a
like
good
it.
season, relatively.
Yeah.
So,
I felt like Drake
all right,
could
Kayla.
have. Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel like Drake could have
Kayla,
stepped it
props.
up a little
You
bit
think
more.
so? I thought he did pretty well.
Thought he did okay, but when you look at him, you don't think of him as like the most dominant challenger, the most physical challenger. But I mean, considering that it was his first challenge, they actually did really well and they got really far. And I'd actually like to see him in future
And you're
seasons.
going up against Casper, so it's a hard competition that he was going up against. But I do want to give an honorable mention to his throwback emo style
Yeah.
hair. His emo hair was out to play today.
I know, right?
He brought that back with the Drake and Josh. I'm like, Drake is almost as sad as his hair is right now. With Pops Taking Back Sunday on in the background.
They probably went to go celebrate by eating steak afterwards.
Seriously.
Typical Drake fashion.
That's all he was thinking about. He's like, oh, if I just jump this, I'll get my steak, so I gotta whip out these jumps real quick. Drake and a steak, Drake and a steak. Great rhyme was a good part of the season.
Yeah.
So, Luis and Casper win, and then we're moving on to the final. Did we have any doubts that they were going to come out on top in this elimination going into this episode?
No, I completely forgot. Again, that's where I'm
Right.
saying with the momentum, I'm like, oh, right, we still have to get through this.
Yeah.
I didn't even consider that was happening. And I almost forgot about Team Fruit Loops, Wes and Booby. I had always sort of thought it was going to be between Luis and Casper and Team Dad Bod.
All right. Well, thank you guys for everybody in the live chat joining us. I believe it was popping before we
Yep.
even went
Poppin',
live.
poppin'.
Sorry, we take a little bit of time to get on the air. We got to get all settled in and stuff. But here's some information for you after buzzers. Here at the network, we produce after shows for nearly all of your favorite TV shows, from dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more. There's no network that works harder to serve television fans. But now we do need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. Besides just helping us a ton, here's what's in it for you. It caters specific content you already like directly to you. It brings you your favorite after shows so you don't have to seek them out. And it will suggest content from other channels or podcasts that might interest you. So subscribing to our YouTube channels will also help you discover new shows we're sure that you will love. Since you're already tuned into reality competition for the challenge, you might be interested in X on the Beach. Might be, I know you are. So You Think You Can Dance, World of Dance, and The 4 Master Chef. And remember, we have channels for other genres too, so please don't be shy about subscribing to them either. And if you're worried about pesky notifications, don't be. They're optional. It's easy. Hit that subscribe button now for an even easier experience. And if you let us know that you did in the comments, we'll shout you out on air. So thanks for being the best fans, and we promise to continue to do our best to serve you. And I promise to try to not stutter on the word subscribing. It's a tricky one. A lot of
Subscribe. You
S's
got
in
it.
that one. So, elimination out of the way. That took 3 seconds. Let's get into the final of the day. We're going to break down all of the obstacles. First, we start with the power play, and this is Sabotage. So again, we're seeing, obviously, it was going to be Luis and Casper who got the short end of the stick. No surprises here. They're 2 minutes behind, and they actually catch up when they get to the first obstacle.
The way that The Miz actually made it sound, I thought that Sabotage was going to be an even bigger or an even bigger disadvantage. Like maybe you had to sit out for 30 minutes. Maybe you had to, but a 2-minute disadvantage, I mean, that's pretty trivial. Like you can make that up. So I didn't really think it was a
You
huge...
could, or it could
Yeah.
be everything. I mean, you saw at the end, it came down to
I mean,
seconds.
they
with
might have
Louise
been, without that thing, they literally might have been tied, or 2 minutes in Challenge World is a lifetime. You know, those 2 minutes.
I mean, they got stuck at multiple places, but
Yes, the teams struggled so much at different checkpoints that the
Right.
Sabotage was kind of canceled out because it gave each team a chance to take the lead away from each
Yeah.
other. It was
Yeah.
very back and forth, which is one of my favorite things about this actual
Yeah.
final. And I just really enjoy this in general. I know the production expense is probably
course.
not as much as a regular challenge, but
especially since they're in LA.
and you know, they're going back into the hockey challenge. Like we already saw life-size air
Yeah.
hockey this season, and the first thing they do is walking in balance beams. I'm like, okay, but I think the rain added a lot of dramatic effect.
Oh,
Very
geez.
And
dramatic.
it made all of the
The-
challenges, obstacles harder.
the slips, the falls, and everything. And I agree with the Miz. He said this is the closest finale he's ever seen. I think it's definitely one of the closest
was
finales we've
really
seen.
good.
And all these finales, it's a game of inches. Like it's not like a blowout. Like every single time, you know, one team could have the lead, another team could have a lead. So that's the reason why I thought this challenge was actually pretty enjoyable.
I did too. It had everything. There was a little bit of everything, considering that these aren't usually as epic as the real show. This summer spinoff, Champ vs. Stars, tends to case down. Is that a word?
Water
Case
down?
water down, or scale back. That's
Yeah,
scale
scale back for
on the
production. Work
through
challenges.
it. We'll get there.
Exactly. Thank
Yeah.
you. Gotta, you know.
It's not a 2 or 3 day challenge where
Exactly.
you're like, you know.
It's not usually as epic, but this had eating, it had
Yeah.
puzzles, it had a run, it had stamina, it had endurance, it had
Yeah.
smarts.
It had
everything.
hoverboards.
It had
So
hoverboards.
let's get into some of the specific challenges. So it was Puckett, Blockhead, Eat and Run, and Beatbox. So
Yes.
Blockhead was the one with hoverboards. And when we rolled up, I was kind of like, really? I mean, I've never been on a hoverboard. I
Dude,
think
it's
they're
hard.
extremely difficult
It's
to go on.
hard.
But I wasn't sure that that was going to be a true test of how athletic they can be, or if that was going to be a good thing to watch. That was hysterical.
That was the best, was just Tony, real slow, leaning over real hard, like a stooped old man, with all the puzzle pieces just taking forever to
I
cross.
love Casper in this. I think Casper would be the kind of guy that if I was there competing against him, I would hate it.
Oh, yeah.
But the
Yeah.
fact that I get to just sit back and watch him, I love it. He's like, hoverboards? I got 3 of these at
It's
home.
just interesting because, you know, when hoverboards came out, you know, quick side note, a lot of times the celebrities, they get them for free. So I'm not surprised that Booby and Casper were the only ones who knew how to do it, because celebrities, as you know, they get them for free. And like, of course he was doing it, but I wasn't surprised that Wes and everyone else, I've been on them. They're really hard. I mean, you
Really?
can easily lose your balance. Like I've seen a ton of celebrities eat it, but to have to do it in the rain and carry stuff,
And
I mean,
grass, too.
it's a
It's not
lot.
like you're on a flat
Yeah,
surface.
exactly. It's a lot harder than you think. So
Booby is smooth, man. Booby is just smooth in everything he does in life. He's like so
except for
suave.
eating.
True. Good point.
Well, this was the first time we got to see, though, what you just said, Jenna, that Casper would have been so horrible to be competing against. This was the first time I saw, like, how much I would want to kill him if I was competing against him, and how obnoxious his confidence would be. I love
Yeah.
him, and
I
I
love
love
it.
watching it. But if I was a competitor, it would drive me
Yeah.
nuts if I
Punchable
was
moments,
competing
yeah.
against
Yeah.
him. Yeah. And it was hilarious that he was like, yeah!
Did you catch Wes's petty comment though, saying, "Oh, I'm not surprised you have 3 of those. You're
Oh.
probably unemployed. You don't have a career. You just hover around all day, and your ex-girlfriend probably
Oh,
bought them
Facts.
for you."
Facts.
AKA
No,
J-Lo.
not facts.
Facts.
Right, but ridiculous. You don't get money in a breakup. I mean, it's not like they were married.
Yeah.
And he's working. You leave Wes. Listen,
I love Casper,
Wes finally got
but-
to unleash all his pent up bitterness
Against
at
Louise
being
and
a
Casper.
little chained up boy on their team. But Wes, calm down.
All right, and then we get into, which it's so sickening for me. I don't know why I have this weird trait where I love the eating challenges.
Oh, I
They're
can't
the
watch
love
best.
it.
They're the best.
I've always loved watching people eat disgusting crap and throwing up. I don't know what's
It's-
wrong with me, but I
yeah.
find it hysterical the entire time Wes was eating the dog food, which he thought was going to be like an
Dude,
afternoon
Okay,
Come
treat.
on,
wait, we need
man.
to talk about that first. So they get there and they pick, just to set it up. So Louise and Casper pick all these sweets, which I don't know if that was great. Wes has the pick and they pick.
Okay,
Can
I
you
have
go
what they
over
picked.
exactly. So yeah, what do
They
Louise
have
and
dog
Casper who
food.
get there first?
Okay.
So they're the top creme de la creme choices were.
So Louise and Casper
According to
get there,
Louise
and I
and
don't blame
Casper.
them for this
Yeah,
because you
of
don't know
course.
what's in it, which was really smart of Casper. Because if I
Yeah.
see donuts, I'm not thinking it's 12 donuts. I'm just
No.
like, donuts, yes!
Exactly.
Right.
Like, this is the good food. Or syrup. I'm like, heck yeah, I love syrup.
Right.
Like, I'm
How hard is
smothering
that?
myself
Syrup.
with
Dude, syrup is hard. Syrup
it's
is hard to
really
eat.
hard. They
It's
gave her
very
like
dense.
probably an entire bottle of maple
Exactly.
syrup.
Yeah.
So they get syrup, marshmallows, love them, cupcakes,
Donuts.
Donuts, and then the curveball was tuna. Then they threw tuna. I guess that's their savory to their
Palate
sweet.
cleanser.
Tuna's good.
Palate cleanser.
Tuna's really good.
I love tuna.
But then Wes and
I
Booby
like all
get
of those
there,
foods.
and Wes's genius idea is like the dog food gets the
So-
best.
So that's
So
what
stupid,
that's
dude.
that
That's so
leads
dumb.
me to my comment. Wes, what are you thinking? He's like, dog food, fish juice,
Yes, and they had lemon
Booby
juice,
had that,
garlic,
yeah.
lemon juice,
and
garlic.
Garlic,
Those are
yeah.
not easy to consume.
granted, what's there though? It's slim pickings at that point.
It is.
I
It
don't
is slim
know.
pickings.
I mean,
It is
I'm
very
pretty
slim
sure-
pickings.
I mean-
dog food would be probably my even of the other things that CT and Tony picked. Dog food, you're not going to pick before, for me, I don't know, anchovies. Like, I don't like them, but I like them more
Dog
than
food was
dog
probably
food.
the only thing that's like an edible in consideration to human food.
I think the reason why, if you notice that CT and Tony were down, and this is where they actually picked it up, and this is where Casper and Luis actually dropped the ball, is because of the fact that CT was smart. You put everything together, right? You put making a sandwich, it makes it easier as opposed to eating it one-on-one. Casper, he's like, oh, well, I didn't want to stuff my face and be uncomfortable. But you have to
Yeah.
understand, this is where the experience comes in,
Yep.
okay? Casper's never done an eating challenge. If it's jumping rope, if it's doing something physical, he dominates. But every single challenger, including Tony and CT, they've done these challenges and they know how difficult it is to eat. And the best place to get a lead was this. And I feel like because of this, if Casper would have, bucked down exactly what Luis would have said, they would have won. They would have won. They
Yeah.
would have had the lead and they would have won. But Casper's like, I'm just going to take my time eating. I'm like, you understand you're playing for money, right?
Right.
It's like you hate to lose, but then again, you're not taking it seriously at the fact that you were the first team there and two teams passed you at the very end. I mean, I'd be pissed if I was Luis.
I agree
Yeah.
to that to an extent. I think that you could probably put the blame on him for that specific challenge. I mean, he really shouldn't have taken his time to the level that he
Yeah.
did. However, to play devil's advocate, I understand the strategy behind that because you consume all that food and then you have to carry that and live with that the rest of the challenge. It was the second to last final, so not much left, but you're still running back and forth to get the chips. You have a full
Yeah.
stomach. If you're eating 12 donuts, maybe shuffling down your throat isn't the smartest idea to carry that weight. But if you're a Wes and you just
Yeah.
puke it all up, then
Yeah.
it's like
I mean,
clean.
It's
you
interesting
balanced, you
because
purged.
they had the easiest stuff to eat. So I was like, if you have the easiest stuff to eat, you might as well eat it the quickest, right? I'd understand if you had onions and garlic. Like, that's not easy
Yeah.
to eat. You have to take your time.
Donuts and cupcakes isn't really that easy to eat though. I go for that.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
go
It's a
for that
lot of-
second slice of cake, and I'm like, oh, I regret that. Imagine having
It is
12
intense.
cupcakes and
It
12
is.
donuts.
If you're a girl, I think for guys, it's like whatever. It's just like the
It's
12
easy
donuts
because
and
it
everything.
tastes good, but it's
Yeah.
a lot of chewing. I mean, it's a lot of like.
I just think what was annoying and frustrating about Casper was his energy
Nonchalance.
about it.
His
He was cocky.
nonchalance, yeah.
Exactly.
And he wasn't helping. Like, you could have submerged that donut in that syrup and eaten it. I mean, he wasn't.
No.
At that point, he wasn't. He was like, I'm gonna.
He was cocky. He was cocky
gonna-
at that
he was
point.
taking his time, right?
And I
He-
don't understand why. For somebody who
So
would rather
motivated.
die
Exactly.
before he loses, just get those donuts in there then.
Exactly.
I agree with what Justin said, though. At that point, it does come down to experience. He didn't think
It was
they
gonna be
were
that
gonna
hard.
lose
Yeah.
it, or that it wasn't that it could hinge on that.
Exactly, but
you know?
CT and Tony doing the most dad thing ever by being able to
Yeah.
force feed all of the food so
CT's
quickly
kitchen.
and easily.
Loved
CT
it.
was
kitchen.
hilarious. He's like, everybody must feel bad for me because they left me all the best food.
Yeah.
And making, onion rolls with
onion
it.
rolls, yeah.
Which I agree, though. At that point, I was like, what on earth was Wes thinking? And again, I would, Luis and Casper, they pick the best foods if you're
Yeah.
at a picnic, not if you have to shove them down your face real fast. You need a mix. Maybe, cupcakes and onions.
And it was the food then that rejuvenated CT and gave him that second win, eating all the onions and all of that. So the sardines, which
Yeah.
was his makeshift Caesar
Yeah.
salad,
Yeah.
just gave life back to his lower back, and he was
Agreed.
able to do the thing.
No more mention of back pains.
If there was
CT
anything,
was fixed.
if there was anything CT and Tony needed, it was a food
Yeah.
challenge.
Mhm.
No matter what it was be mayonnaise.
Can we talk about how awesome the Miz coin was, though? Like,
Yeah.
so having a face of the Miz and putting it up there?
Right.
It's awesome.
Ms. Money.
So the last one is beatbox, and this is where Wes struggled a little bit, as we saw last season. He knows it himself. He's like,
Nuts.
okay, I have a hard time untying knots.
Which is so silly.
Well, I mean, he was doing it in
It could be
water,
hard.
so
If
I
you're
mean,
gonna
you gotta
get
give him
a
that.
knot in your necklace, I hate that. I give it to my
love
roommate
it.
or my friends.
See,
I'm like,
I
nah,
love
can't,
it.
I
I
can't
love-
waste my time with this. I can't mess with this.
I love to sit down with a tangled necklace. Honestly, there's nothing I
hate
find
that.
it meditative. But Wes, work on maybe when everyone's running or, you know,
Yeah.
doing stuff, eating Fruit Loops, work on your knots.
There you go.
Just
If
gotta
he knows
work
that that's
on
his
knots.
weakness.
Yeah, he's got to, you know, train and challenge knots.
Yeah. And CT and Tony blew through that one. I was a little bit surprised that Louise and Casper were slower at this.
Yeah.
Louise, I feel like had it with Casper at this point. He's like yelling at her the entire time. She's kind of just taking it. I think it's just easier sometimes not to fight
Totally.
with somebody who's doing that. It's just like, all right, I'm listening to you.
On that too, I want to say I was impressed with Tony, and he has grown as a competitor with his not getting aggravated at CT. I was really impressed with him. I would have thought that Tony or old Tony would have been like, come on, CT, come on, just freaking out, and he was really cool. And I was surprised at Casper snapping and being kind of
I think what
bratty.
would have happened is Tony would have known that CT would have gone old school CT and would have smashed his head in and eaten it. So that's probably what would have happened.
Smash your head and eat
I
it.
know, but I mean, my question is, what do you guys think? Like, who was the weakest competitor between the pairs? If you were to choose, like,
Not a pair, just a single person in this competition.
or just in general, like between CT and Tony, like obviously CT was, you know,
He was a liability. I wouldn't say that he was weak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that they were on the teams. There were gives, you know,
give and takes.
gives
Oh,
and
who was
takes.
the weakest
yeah.
one of each
Yeah,
team?
yeah.
I think the
Who's the
teams were
weakest one of
very
each
well
one?
matched. I don't
Yeah.
think that. I think without Luis's level-headed calmness, Casper's aggressiveness wouldn't have worked.
just-
And same with CT, obviously slowed down, but Tony couldn't have done that puzzle.
Yeah.
And carry
You're right.
the amount of things. CT, when he did do his stuff, was
I think,
a
I think
beast.
I think CT and Tony really balanced each other out because the entire time, you know, CT's back was, but at the very end when it came to a puzzle, like you could tell Tony's getting giddy, like, oh man, he's like, calm down, buddy, we haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
And also with you know, Louise and Casper in that sense, it's like kind of like, you know, Casper's leading the entire way, you know, with the running and all this stuff, like, hurry up, Louise, hurry up. But then when it came to the eating, I feel like Louise ate more, you know, than
Yeah.
Casper.
She
So
did.
it's just kind of like what they helped each other out, but also what their weaknesses kind of
Yeah.
like, you know,
Every
work towards
team
together.
was a
Same
yin
with
to the
Wes and
yang.
Booby.
Yeah, same with Wes and
I think
Booby.
they didn't show them as much in this, but I think Booby's a obviously extremely strong competitor in all arenas, and Wes is a leader. I think same with Luis. I think even though Casper dominates at everything he does, including hoverboarding and bouncing,
Except for eating donuts.
except for eating
But we
donuts.
see the dads come in
but
and
Luis is still the leader.
the dramatic rain falls and Tony is just ecstatic and he's basking this in and he's saying the challenge gods are finally on his side and he's taking this win. So congratulations
It's
to
Tony time.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to CT. They really fought through a lot during that final and it's
They
great to
did.
see, you know, they had CT's back injury and it came full circle and they ended up
Yes.
winning. So congrats to them.
Props,
And
Team
that
Dad
was a
Bod.
really good,
Yeah.
exciting challenge and well fought.
I mean-
Yes.
So we do have a special segment we're going to get into.
Woo,
But first,
okay.
I just want to remind you guys, because I know you're watching on YouTube along with us, that you can also definitely hit us up on iTunes. And please subscribe to us. Please rate us. Please comment. Let us know. Or just, you know, say that the challenge fans brought you here. Well, of course, you'll be doing that because it's a challenge podcast on iTunes. But just hit us up on iTunes. Hit us with that subscribe and that rate button, please, so that we can continue to do this and talk about this. So, special segment tonight, I want to give, and play along with us in the live chat as well, or if you're not live with us tonight, comment for the next few days, some season wrap-up questions on this season as
Okay.
a whole. So, we have this theme of the MVP, LVP every episode. So, who is your season MVP and your season LVP?
Oh, good question.
If you need some time to
Yeah.
think. I actually put Casper as the MVP of this
Okay.
season because I think he fought through a lot of. He was in every elimination. He was able to, as a star, with all of the odds against him and having to go with the champs politically and having everybody try to tear him down. He went into the first elimination. He came back and made Tony backtrack like a little puppy dog into the corner. And Casper's confidence guided him through. I think he was the best athlete there. Sure, CT is in the
agree.
building. Yes, I know CT
I'm
is
gonna
there.
have to-
I think Casper was the best athlete.
I'm
He
gonna
murdered
have
it
to
this season.
respectfully disagree with you. I
That's
love
fine.
you
I'm glad that you
because
do.
of the fact that you can't put the MVP as a person who didn't win the final challenge, right? And
Sure you can.
with that, Tony is the MVP. I mean, look at everything that was stacked against him. They were always trying to get him out, and it's his first win. And I think it was his time. It's Tony time. It's CT's third win, you know, all together. But I think Tony
But you
should
go
be the MVP.
regular season MVP, postseason's different. This isn't Super Bowl MVP. This is just season MVP.
Who's your LVP?
My LVP, who did I have? Oh, I have Tori as my LVP.
Rookie of the year. Rookie of the year.
Rookie is
Almost,
that's
yeah.
why she's my LVP because
Yeah.
the past few
She didn't really
challenges
show
she's
up.
been on, I love her as a person. I respect this about her, but she's not bringing the heat anymore. She's not bringing the competitiveness, and I think as a competitor, she flopped this season, and she's kind of my LVP because I expected more.
Okay, I'm going, and this is a pretty judicious pick. I'm going MVP Brooke for being cool, being nice, and uniting more than anyone else did, I think, the champs and the stars. I'm going LVP Josiah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to
because I
agree.
never had any gosh darned idea what in the Sam Tarnation he was talking about ever, or what his strategy was.
In terms of athleticism, swimming,
Personality,
personality,
strategy.
everything, and misspelling words,
Yeah.
he's definitely going to have to be my, or maybe Hennessy, because we didn't see her at all.
And she
was
freaked
just kinda
out, and she left by
freaked
her
out.
own.
Yeah,
Right.
that
She
was
wasn't
lame.
even.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Good choices.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also have an honorable mention for MVP of the season is The Miz for bringing the energy week in, week out.
can he come back out of retirement,
like,
please?
as a host, he
Yeah.
he never looked like he wasn't ecstatic to be there. And
Yeah.
his energy, it was like kind of laughable at times, but I loved it and I appreciated it. So
Yeah.
Miz. Okay, the twist to mix the teams this time, to make it champs and stars.
Okay.
Bank or bust.
Oh.
I liked it because of the fact that it's the first time where the past 2 seasons it was just strictly like blue team versus red team, chance versus stars. But now you got to see that it's the playing field's more level. You know, it was more level, and you got to see everyone more mingling. So I hope in future seasons they do the same thing. But I don't mind seeing a team Dadbod or Luis and Casper. Like I don't mind seeing strong teams of the same chance versus stars. But in the end, like I like the mixing.
Yeah. Agreed. Total bank.
I think it was a bank,
It was
too.
a bank. I think that the champs' decision to try and not play as a team and play as champs was so misguided. But I thought that the idea of breaking it up was great. I think they just should have held their horses until the end, and then they could have allied with their champs and stars.
In theory, the concept of champs and stars was a complete bust.
Yeah.
But
Right.
in terms of TV, was a huge bank, I
Great,
think,
yes.
because it really increased the field of play. I think that made like
Yeah.
Casper and Booby really invested and care more because it became more cutthroat, and they saw that the champs were really not trying to let these people get money for their charity. So it actually brought the stars out to play because a lot of times,
Definitely.
like we've seen with Arian Foster or
Yep.
TL, they're kind of half-heartedly in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this amped up the drama and therefore amped up the competition, and everybody was there to play.
I was kind of surprised that they didn't do like one more final twist where it was just kind of like, okay, now you guys are individual like
Yeah,
players, right?
right?
Because they've already broken up the team so many times, and you would have just seen one winner, right? Whether it's a champ or a star, not like a pair of teams. But no, I mean, overall, I enjoyed the season a lot with the pairings.
Very, very true. Has your perception of Wes changed after this season? Because we see him
good
backing
question.
into corners a little bit, kind of becoming the submissive to Louise, not being the Jedi anymore, kind of groveling at moments, and then at the end, to summarize Wes's season, is his slip with the coin as
Yeah.
he's trying to get to. He can't
He's
even
so
make it to the
close.
finish line before wiping,
It's just-
Oh my
eating
gosh.
crap.
And as we were watching it, and they show during Wes's slow motion recap of the fall, we watch it with with the text. What's that called? Captions,
Yeah. Subtitles.
It just
Closed
said
captioning.
sad music. Like that was the
Yeah.
sound of Wes falling on
just-
his
So
butt.
good, so
It
good.
was hilarious.
It's just so funny because the entire time, like, there's obviously sexual tension between the two, and
I don't think so.
and no,
Really?
it's I mean the way that they flirt with each other and all this stuff. But it's interesting because Wes did beat her in hurdles, and when she was here, we had asked her like, no, he straight up beat me in hurdles. I didn't let him win, but I don't think so, just because of the fact that Wes, he's amazing at politics. I mean, he's definitely slipped up in terms of, athletic competition. But then again, he doesn't compete on regular challenges. He only does the ones for charity, which is awesome. But no, I mean, he made it to the final, which he said he was going to do. And I mean, they got third place, which isn't bad, So
Yeah.
It made me love Wes more, frankly. I liked watching Wes play his little game. No, my answer is no. I think that Wes is and forever will be a silly little Wes, and I like him.
Kansas
I
City
do love
Chief,
it.
what's
Yeah.
up?
Yeah,
Gotta
he
love
is
Wes.
Kansas City. So we do have some music gossip tonight.
Woo!
AfterBuzz TV News.
So this is a thanks to Olivia P for tweeting at us. Thank you so much for watching and giving this to us, because I would have missed this today, and this is huge, and I'm very intrigued. She's Olivia_0912, so thanks a lot, girl. So according to the website The Ashley, they put out an article that Farrah from MTV's Teen Moms OG, they are going to replace her because, you know, this is a whole controversy because she left last season and she's an OG, and these are the same group of girls that have been together for like 10 years. They're the first people from Teen Mom. They're going to replace her with Cheyenne from The Challenge.
Ooh. Cheyenne.
Corey's boo.
Not
Corey's
boo.
baby mama.
They're
Baby mama.
Corey's co-parent.
I'm sorry, bae.
As they have
Baby
Ryder,
mama.
who is 1 year old. And there's a few more things about this. So, Teen Mom OGs, right? So, Cheyenne's not a teenager. She was 24 when she had Ryder. So, there's that.
Yeah.
And the other moms, Caitlin, Macy, Amber, they're pissed about this because they wanted to stay in their OG group.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Champs and the Champs and the
Of course.
Champs are stars.
Territorial.
But these are like the same people who've been together for 10 years. And
Right.
now they're just kind of letting Cheyenne come in. I could see how that would rub
I
them the wrong
agree.
way. And they don't want anybody else to be in their spot. And one of the craziest things about this article was the pettiness of whatever the challenge source the Ashley has. So I guess the Ashley knows somebody who goes on the challenge frequently, and their challenge source gave this quote. This is what they said.
Okay.
About Corey and Cheyenne. Their co-parenting relationship is nowhere near as happy as they try to make it out to be on social media. They will fit in perfectly on Teen Mom. So I'd love to know who this challenge source is.
Surprise,
That was a
surprise.
little rude. And I mean, I'll be disappointed if there's truth to that. However, there's truth to that in every relationship.
Yeah,
How dare you
agree.
say these are
Right.
two people who had an unplanned pregnancy who are trying to make it work together, and even if it looks like they're doing a great job, I'm sure that they go through rough spots, as any couple does. Actual
Yeah.
married couples go through problems when they're raising their kids. So that was kind of rude of that person to say, oh, it's nothing like that. It's just for social media.
Yeah, I get that MTV, that they're a draw and that they have a following and that people want to see them and how they're raising their child. However, not a teen. And the other thing that makes it really different is that those people, when Teen Mom started like 10 years ago, were completely unknown. You know, meaning no money, a lot of very real situations. Cheyenne and Corey are at this point celebrities too. So it's like, I get that they have an audience, but at the same token, it'd be nice to have, if they have to bring in a replacement, an actual unknown teen mom to join the cast. It might be a little more authentic.
That's a
it
really
seems
great
a little,
point.
yeah, it's like, we get it, but like, you can keep them in your spin-offs and your challenge stuff and in your exes on the beach and have Ryder and Cheyenne show up to get involved in that. But to put her as Teen Mom, it seems really
I think they should have their own spin-off reality TV show because they don't fit in with the Teen Mom, but at
and
this
I'd watch
point,
it. I mean, I'd hella watch it.
I don't
And-
even care that she's not a teen and doesn't fit in with the OGs.
Does she have another child by any chance that
No.
she had when she was a teen?
No.
So not a teen mom.
No, she's not a
Not
teen
a
mom.
teen mom. Never was a teen mom. Shouldn't be a teen mom, I would
No,
say.
so
yeah.
I think for the sake of the show title, it doesn't fit at all, and it's
Right.
kind of like a weird move by
that's the
MTV.
premise.
But I don't even care because I want to see that family and relationship so badly.
Absolutely.
I love Ryder. I always stalk them on social media, so I'm excited to see them on TV. And I don't watch Teen Mom, so now I will.
Yeah.
So they are bringing viewers in
Right.
if that was their goal.
I get that.
I think that they're just good enough and intriguing enough that people would follow a different spin-off if they
I
had
would
their
watch
own.
their
I would watch
spin-off.
the crap out of it.
Or
Or maybe just
even-
do it
Sure.
online. Digital era. It's a new
Even
era.
MTV challenge / railroad / road rule couples and their offspring.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Make a like Brad and Tori and their kids and Brittany's
Yes!
involvement.
That's an
Yeah,
incredible
MTV,
idea,
hello.
Pam.
Sorry, I'm gonna call Binnam Murray tomorrow and pitch them this. Yeah, there's got to be a lot more. I know that there's more challenge couples that have kids, and I would totally watch a show about them.
CT, Derek, in a
Derek,
heartbeat.
yeah. The real challenge.
Or at least like a
parenting.
6-season like Champs versus series, and
Yeah.
a nice
Yeah.
little special. That would be great. I would
Yeah.
love that. That's a great idea.
uh-huh.
So then let's go into a little bit of predictions. I know
got
Tony has a
one.
song
Oh,
for
okay.
this.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
Just quickly, because there is going to be a reunion next week. First time for Champs for Stars. Kind of weird. Don't know how you guys are feeling about it, but let's go. I think that this is kind of going to be like a lighthearted reunion, probably scaled back on the drama type of level. What predictions do you guys have for like storylines? What do you think is going to be talked about at the reunion?
The question is Hennessy going to be there? Because if she's there,
That's a great
obviously
question.
something's going to happen. But you're right. I mean, I feel like in terms of the drama, it wasn't that much. And, you know, that's what we basically need to go see.
Yeah,
but I think
like
in
why
terms
have
of,
a reunion?
Yeah, but there might be some hidden stuff that we didn't know about, right? I was like, actually, Kayla was beefing with this person, and they might, you know, hash something out for the actual reunion, but we're just going to have to tune in and see.
I think the reunion is going to be a giant platform to promote Final Reckoning. And I'm here for that. Fine. Great. I think the only points of drama, which they might have stoked a little bit in this episode, are Wes and Louise. Him saying he lost respect for her, which was, again, very extreme, considering what, because she didn't carry you since you targeted your whole groups against one another. So that will be a little drama. Shane drama with Casper. Basically, the only real drama, I think, is between Luis and Casper and others. That's the only major drama. They might try and fluff up some other stuff for the reunion.
I'm looking forward to seeing
Yeah.
Shane at the reunion. I want to see how Shane reacts. I want to see Jose and
I want to see
Salida.
how Shane's dressed. That's
I want to go back
see.
to some of the storylines. So it's
Yeah.
kind of cool that they are having a reunion now that I think about it again.
Yeah,
because
I'm
Shane and
fine.
Casper kind of left off on a weird mark.
know.
Jose and
Yeah.
Salida
I just kind
had
of want to
something
see
there.
like Devin just with all of Devin's sayings and
Yeah.
Devin just doing stand-up
Devin
comedy
coming
at the
back.
entire time. So
And then we also have the MTV Movie Awards.
Oh, yes.
Pam?
Okay. So the MTV Movie Awards, if you guys didn't catch them last night, I'm sure they'll be airing all the time on MTV right now.
And Tony, this is our video.
Oh, we're not. I think we scrapped the video.
Oh, we scrapped the video.
However,
Okay.
however, we didn't. It's out there, people. I have it posted on my Twitter, so you can find me at Pamela Gross Jill and see it. And it's pretty much all over. If you look up Tiffany Haddish talking about the challenge, she gives a shout out to CT, and she talks about that she thinks he's part pterodactyl, and it's pretty funny. There's a little video clip of her talking, and they show him, you know, housing bananas. It's very funny. So check that out. It's very cute, and it was sort of a bid to get the challenge fans to watch the MTV Movie Awards, which worked for me. Check it out though; it's really cute.
They're good with their cross promotion.
Very good cross promotion.
Well, that is it for us tonight. That was Champs for Stars episode 10, Bank Rolling in the Deep. That was the finale. CT and Tony bringing home
Team
that
Dad
big
Bod.
prize to their charities. Let's also not forget that the money earned went to charities.
Yes.
exactly.
And they earned a lot of money for their
Yeah.
charities, so it was incredible. Thank you guys so much, and thanks again for tweeting at me, Olivia, and if you guys see anything, let me know. I'm at Jenna_Bussiere on Twitter. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, my name is Pam Gross, and I am at Pamela Gross Jill on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you guys for joining us. Love to keep the conversation going. If any of you guys know where the final took place, let us know, because it was really pretty, and we can't figure out exactly where it was.
Looked like Ireland. That's not
Did,
an
but it
Irish
wasn't,
accent.
yeah.
And don't forget to follow me, your boy Jay Yang, at your boy Jay Yang on Instagram. Challenge Fanatic. Super looking forward to the final reckoning coming up July
Yeah.
10th. So stay tuned for that.
Good night.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.